it seems rather disturbing that you want to spend $4 million of taxpayer money to put in listening devices so that a foreign country can listen to the people on our streets. And of course, you like to bring up the fact, oh no, this is only about recording shots, and it's not about recording people. But of course, in fact, when you take a look at what the reality of the situation is, you can go back to, there's a 2012 article from South Coast News, January 11, 2012, New Bedford, Massachusetts. An audio recording of a street argument that helped police arrest a suspect in the murder. New York Times article from May 2012 talks about the system has raised questions about privacy and the reach of police service. You look at thedailymail.com, their headline is, now that's a listening post. Big Brother fears as New York Police Department attaches microphones to lampposts to listen out for gunshots, but they also record our conversations. That March 2015 article in the body of that talks about audio recordings from ShotSpotter have been used to corroborate testimony that led to convictions in a Massachusetts murder. A voice shouting, "No, Jason, no," before shots were fired. Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm at 13, so you don't look up all the time.
So the concern here is that in fact these devices and the ShotSpotter technology is recording voices. It is sending that information to a foreign country, a country that has declared Canada as a threat to its national security in certain areas, and you want to spend money to put this technology in. The fact is, you're talking about having a referendum on whether or not we like what the province has done and what another level of government has done to this city, and yet where's the referendum to find out whether or not the people want video cameras and microphones installed in their neighborhoods? And I can tell you that a lot of people that I'm talking to don't want it. And of course, Wendy Gillis had an article from Toronto Star here back July 23rd, 2018, talking about the fact that the CCLA, the Canadian Civil Liberties Association, has brought up concerns about listening devices being installed by police. And I'm actually surprised to see that the CCLA isn't here today making a deputation on this. But there is certainly a lot of concern about this technology, and so I certainly hope that the board will not go ahead with this at this point. It's also a problem having this meeting having actually come originally from a private meeting of police at City Hall, but of course this body, which is not just City Hall appointees, but is in fact almost half of them provincial appointees, the reason being that we don't want just the city making decisions about these things, and certainly not done in secret meetings at City Hall talking to the police about what kind of listening and surveillance technology they're going to be putting in on the people.
Thank you.
And you can bet that if I'm mayor, this program will be being eliminated, not continued.
Thank you, Chris. Questions for Chris? Okay, Chris, thanks. Rosemary Fry, next, sorry.
Hi, I'm also talking about the ShotSpotter. And a few minutes ago, Mr. Torrey, you talked about sometimes you take a flyer on something and see if it works. That's exactly what's happening with ShotSpotter. And that's a very cavalier attitude for spending hundreds of millions of dollars on, hundreds of thousands of dollars on something. And you were talking about how you're concerned about spending, how we don't have enough people on the drugs and guns task forces. But so you sort of say, well, we really care about public safety and money's got to be spent right, but there's too much smoke and mirrors. There's too much emphasis on optics rather than evidence. There's too much emphasis about giving as much money to the police as they want, even when many other sectors of the city, as we all know, are being cut to the bone and beyond. I want to bring your attention to this article from October 2016, where it said, where the mayor says, mayor calls for firings in the wake of scathing medication fraud report. And in it, the mayor says, quote, termination is an appropriate kind of penalty for that sort of thing, because we cannot, in a circumstance where we're trustees of the public's money, allow it to be abused. Yet, in the information on ShotSpotter that's before you, where's any information about where this technology is providing a good return on investment, or whether it's an abuse, in fact, is an abuse of public money, misuse of public money? There's none. Where's the evidence showing ShotSpotter increases arrests for gun crimes, decreases shots fired calls or alerts, and reduces the number of people being shot? There's none. Where's any meaningful information at all? Like, even how is the money being spent on ShotSpotter? Where is it being deployed? And when? There's none. And there's just the claim that some arrests are made as a result of ShotSpotter. At the July Police Board meeting, you can ask Mark Saunders to corroborate that there would be an immediate reduction in gun violence, with the implementation of the plan to spend $4 million on ShotSpotter and get CCTVs and some more community programs. And Saunders responded, quote, "I don't want to get into this vortex." He continued, "Our role when it comes to the enforcement piece is robust. Please understand the entire script and not frame it into that same direction that has been repetitive." I don't know what he's saying. It just sounds like some sort of, he's prevaricating. It's some script from the ShotSpotter sales department. So there's no research that's being presented here. So I did a little bit. It doesn't take time. I encourage you all to do the same. And here, for example, is an article from Forbes in November 2016. And the author writes, quote, "The question now is whether the technology is worth the millions of dollars it's costing taxpayers each year, and if the lack of tangible results is because we don't have the ability to measure them, the results that is, or that they simply don't exist." Here's another report from the Cincinnati Enquirer in August 2017. It quotes Dr. Jean Doliek from the University of Virginia, quote, "Until researchers have a chance to truly analyze the effectiveness of the technology and public officials are pressured to make sure it's a good use of money, all the stories about deterrence, technology, and community relations are just that, stories." So, Mr. Tory, you're on record as saying that people who waste even just a few $1,000s of public money should be fired. The lack of evidence of ShotSpotter's efficacy indicates it's probably a waste of hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you stand by your statement, Mr. Tory, you should be fired. There's another example, and this is kowtowing to the police and the private sector. Just like a couple months ago, you tried to get $519 million in tax credits, property tax credits to your cronies in the development industry. So this does not help increase confidence in the police or in yourself. It erodes it, and that's not helpful. And you know, though, that you can rely on people on the board to back you up, and the chief to do the same. And you can count on credulous members of the public. They're fooled by your and the chief's facility with making untruths sound credible. Many people believe you when you say you're all working to help reduce gun violence by being tough on crime. And we just need to give the police force more money, give them whatever they want. Unfortunately, there isn't any objective evidence that's the right approach.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Thank you very much. Then, Brenda?
Yes.
Thank you.
I also will be making a statement on ShotSpotter and then be going on to the cameras when it's my turn. So, ShotSpotter actually is a technology, an unproven technology. Reports in the media suggest sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And what it actually does is take away the public's involvement in their own problems, relying on an unproven technology and the hopes it's going to catch criminals. I don't believe it's going to catch anyone unless we have some criminals that are going to be shooting off their guns and standing around waiting for the police to come and get them. Otherwise, I don't believe they're going to catch anyone. There's not one report I've read that said anybody got caught because of ShotSpotter. And I can't even imagine that no matter how fast the police are, they're gonna get there so fast, the criminals are just gonna be waiting for them to show up. It doesn't prevent anything. What it does do, though, is show defects in the system of enjoying our public participating in their citizenship. So instead of good citizens who are gonna call the police and assist with criminals, we're gonna rely on a totally unproven technology. And we're gonna pay for it. We're gonna give millions of taxpayers' dollars for this unproven machine that's gonna maybe alarm us about some shots being fired. It's absolutely ludicrous. I've never heard anything so ridiculous. This company must be led by a chief executive officer that's a genius. He's somehow perpetrated amongst I don't know how many states and how many people that they should buy this technology. The man's a genius. But as far as helping us with gangs and violence, I don't believe it's going to do anything except use us our money. I also believe that because people will think they're being taken care of by ShotSpotter, they're not going to do their duty. They're not going to call the police. They're not going to be vigilant. They're going to sit back while they hope some machine takes care of their troubles. A machine with a name. They don't have to participate in the protection of the people in their own community. They don't have to assist the police. We've got this machine, and on that'll be playing in their head. Also, ShotSpotter, no one's ever mentioned this. ShotSpotter alarms after shots have been fired. Well, hey, it's too late then. If I've been killed by someone, I'm laying on the ground, I don't really give a damn whether the police come along or not. I'm already dead. So I don't know what you're all thinking of. I wonder if the criminals have all taken to laughing at all of you and the public in general, hoping that you spend your money on ShotSpotter. Hey, then no one's going to bother to call the police. We can just shoot up whoever we please. This is just, I've never heard such a thing. The idea that the police are going to get here, arrive at crime faster after shots are fired, misses the point. The point being preventing gangs and gun violence. That's the point. So I have to say, I wouldn't give ShotSpotter Company 1 penny of our money, not a half a cent.